Good afternoon to you all. I'm sadly not Angela. I would need to have a pixie cut, a wee bit of a wee rins and lose about 4 stone. But Angela is also lovely. So I've been asked to take you through part of what Angela, oh thank you so much. Now I'm Bruce Forsyth. Watch the kilt, Bob. Oh yes, you don't know how nervous I am right now. Angela is the new, everyone hear me okay? Thank you. Just that you're not applauding, I'm joking. Angela Miller is the relatively new Scotland Network Development Manager. I'm getting a thumbs up for the back of the room. Thank you. For Headway UK. So she concentrates on Scotland. And part of her role is to map what everyone is doing in Scotland and also to see how we can work better together with one purpose, and that's to improve the services and support for people with an acquired brain injury. Now, I'm unable to do this on my own, which is why he's not just lovely, he's known as the mighty John Parker. Oh, a big hand for John. He's obviously the better looking half of the duo. Yeah, I see that, I got an applause. I know who you are. Anyway, John has been coming to Headway Glasgow for quite some time. Do you want to tell us how long and a couple of sentences about your background, John?
My name is John Parker, ladies and gentlemen. I've been coming to Headway for 5 years now, so relative, so a young rookie, you know.
He's a veteran and he's a stalwart of two of our Headway Glasgow groups. But we'll return to John very shortly. Now, me and technology, this may work, this may not work. It worked. I'm from Paisley, so I'm not used to this. And I'm not used to calling out bingo numbers either. So as you may know, Headway UK is a UK-wide charity. That's its focus. That's what it does. 118 groups and branches throughout the UK. What's the difference? I hear you cry, Bob. Oh, bless you. That's not bad for this time of day. A branch is smaller, relatively informal, very sometimes volunteer-led. A group is formally constituted, a registered charity with Scotland, with Oscar in Scotland, for example. 3 examples are Headway Ayrshire. Headway Ayrshire still here in the house? Oh, look at that. The train's not here yet. It's lovely to see you. Anyone from Headway Edinburgh? Your tea's out? That's fine. Anyone from Headway Glasgow? Look at that, eh? And the chippies aren't open. But the best looking group as well, obviously, John. We think so. So, what does Headway actually do? Well, I'm going to go over here. It starts at this side. I can't get myself in profile, I look like Punch. Over this side, the emergency fund, well, it will start at the top, the acute stage, the Queen Elizabeth, if you like. Through early recovery, rehab, community living, and continuing care. So at this point, we've got the likes of the emergency fund to allow families to visit relatives. We've got the I'm calling about Chris, a fabulous thing. It's a bit like private social media. So you don't have to feel all those calls. How's Bob doing? Well, this is happening, he's getting a scan for this, he's doing this, we're not sure. You don't have to repeat yourself. That's the way to do it. The network of local support groups and branches, and something we use and the people we support all the time, a free nurse-led UK helpline. Fabulous, really good. And the website itself for Headway UK, full of resources on acquired brain injury, the effects and how to support people, along with online communities. And I'll go along, watch the nose, alongside, here we go. So, there we go, a map. You'll see Headway Highland, all the 10s, they're spread out there. Headway Glasgow, number 9. There we are, number 9. We're called Headway Glasgow. We cover a much bigger area. It's just the name we have at the moment. In fact, the big secret is Angela is a way to set up Headway Las Vegas. A bit of a shock to the Headway UK people at the back of the room, but never mind. You think I'm kidding? No, I'm kidding. So, Angela's role as a network development manager in Scotland is to develop the network of services and support we already have, make it better, raising awareness of brain injury, and we all do that every day. We all do it every day. We're all ambassadors for acquired brain injury. Putting people at the heart of development and improving pathways. You know those pathways, the hospital discharges that should link up, but often don't. So we have people sometimes discharged without proper through care, without ongoing support, without SDS, etc. Because sometimes, sadly, the system doesn't work. And it's people like us, the people in the room, informally or formally, paid or unpaid, who stand in that gap. And I salute you for it. Also, part of Angela's role is to campaign at the Scottish Parliament. That's obviously we're in the holidays, presumably not all in a camper land, but anyway. Glad I never said that. Anyway, now, Angela herself is in one of the cross-party groups, which helps immensely and is about raising at the national level. And certainly speaking as a manager of a Scottish Headway group, it's nice to have Angela dedicated, because that's a devolved power. And we know that. Health and increasingly social care as well. Something today has been about, and I've seen it happen. I've been part of it, and you have all been part of it. And John's going to be part of it in a wee second. It's about partnership working. Now, here's a test, audience participation. What does Sabine mean? Oh, that was good, well done. Schiff? Neos? I can speak Gaelic. Bing? Oh, well done. It was great in White Christmas, by the way. NHS, third sector partners. Can I ask for a show of hands, how many people here work in the third sector? Or associated with it, or volunteer in the third sector? Can you add to that if you're supported by a third sector organisation? You're the backbone. You're the absolute backbone. So thank you for that. And thanks as well in partnership to our NHS partners and the wider brain injury community. John, do you want to tell us a wee bit about what happened to you?
By all means, Bob. I was 48 when I took my brain hemorrhage, worked in the social care sector myself for many, many years as a support worker. Luckily for me, when I took it, I was in the south side of Glasgow doing escort duty, bringing people back from their own homes to a respite centre in the east end of Glasgow. When I took a hemorrhage, which the only way I can describe it, ladies and gentlemen, was I bled internally. So a vessel in my left side of my brain burst, went down this side of my face, down my left arm, down my left leg, and I took 4 seizures in the space of 24 hours, and I was still awake. So imagine how scary that was for me, as each seizure took more and more of my energy away from my body. You can imagine having the air sucked out of your body, and then for a second it comes back. So every time I took one, I got weaker and weaker, and my voice started to drain and drain as I lost more and more of my energy. Luckily, one of the ladies' mums phoned an ambulance right away. arrived at nearby to the house. Paramedics took me in, did all the obs on me, hooked me up to their equipment, and I took my second seizure in the ambulance. Last thing I remember was he spoke to his colleague and said, put the blue light on, take him to the old Southern Gym, which is now the Queen Elizabeth, ladies and gentlemen. Arrived there, went straight into research, took one on the table. Very last thing I definitely remember was the doctor putting an injection into my arm. I passed out, woke up into neurology, where I stayed for about maybe 3 or 4 weeks and then transferred to acute medical for a spell, and then the PDRU unit, which is the physical rehabilitation unit. So in total, I spent 3.5 months being recovering and fighting tooth and nail to get my life back together.
Thank you, John. We'll come back to you in a wee second. Thank you for being so open and honest with us. And John mentioned some other organisations, some other units, some other facilities that supported him and helped his rehabilitation and recovery. And what Angela has been doing, and she may have already visited some of the people here, you'll know what she looks like because she doesn't look like me. And mapping what we do, where we do it, why we do it, how we do it, what works and what doesn't. And that's about, again, partnership, sharing with what works and what doesn't. Building relationships, raising awareness of community-based Headway services, because she works for Headway UK. And better supporting that pathway I mentioned earlier, from hospital to community support. And John's already shared part of your journey there, from the point of bang, the impact, to the physical rehab unit. Could you take us on to the next step of your journey, John, in terms after that?
Well, now, thankfully, I've been given a second chance because I'm not just a brain injury survivor. As Bob rightly said, I'm a brain injury ambassador for Headway Glasgow, which is a city I've been a member for 5 years. So for me, it was a life-changing event. When I took it, I was left-handed, so I have to relearn everything from signing my name, learn how to write, learn how to draw, learn how to do everything with my right hand. Both my parents were left-handed, so I was never ever going to be right-handed. So that was quite a life-changing event. The impact emotionally on my 2 daughters, my wife, was devastating. I mean, 1 minute I was totally fit, active young man. Next minute the world was turned upside down. And basically, the job that I loved to do, looking after people, caring for people, that came to an abrupt end. And all the support I was hoping to get totally disappeared. And then I was on the one receiving and actually looking for support, not just for me, but for my whole family. So when I came on board with Headway Glasgow, it was a massive lifeline for me, because without it, I would be stuck in the house, looking at 4 walls and being really, really bored. So for me to get to Headway every single day is a massive achievement. I mean, I'm not trying to put down people who don't have a brain injury, ladies and gentlemen, because we all have our own struggles in life. But for people with brain injury, for me to make the effort to leave the house, travel independently, which I still do to this day, and concentrate on any given activity, takes a lot of physical energy, emotional energy, and sometimes you probably know this, when I finish a group on any given day, I have to go home and go for a rest because I'm totally drained, you know.
Thank you, John. And something John didn't mention that I am going to mention, and that all of this is centred on lived experience. John and the people Headway Glasgow supports, and all the other people you support with acquired brain injury, loved ones, their family, or if you're someone who has experienced an acquired brain injury, you're the most important person in this room, without question. Without you, no one else has a right to be here. We're only here because of you. And it's about you being at the centre of this for raising awareness, improving those pathways, developing better, more effective services that suit you, and having it in a planned, strategic way. You have a voice. Please use it. And one thing I'm going to tell you about John. John is in our creative writing group. What that man doesn't know about zombie apocalypses, no, I'm serious. Never mind 28 days later, 28 Johns later. Sometimes I worry. But he's also in the art group. And the video sequence that's running in our stall next door, you'll see John's very handsome face because you are lovely. We've heard it publicly. So you and I are still going to hold on to that. You have more right to hold on to it than I do, John, let me tell you. But one of John's creations, one of his pictures, and it's Batman versus Superman, to have it right? See, he knows. He's a huge superhero fan. But what John does, and I'm going to embarrass you, and I don't care if you go the colour of my kilt, if that's okay. John, despite all the challenges that he's spoken about, will not leave the writing group. The art group or the writing group. But what he does after the Tuesday is rearrange all the tables and all the chairs himself for the next day. And he doesn't have to do it, and you just have to get out his way, because let me tell you, he may not have leapt up here, but he'll take you down. Know what I mean? Where do you live, John? What area of Glasgow?
Trade secret, Bob.
Let me tell you, you know. But John is a great example. Thank you, Neil. Well, I have a timer in the audience in case you're wondering in case it's my auntie. Bless you. I've had many of them and all ill-advised today. Thank you, Neil. Neil's also one of our stalwarts. The plan was that Neil would shout, "Get him paid, get him off." But she's clearly too well-bred to do that. Plus her husband's here. Excellent. But John and Neil are great examples of the person who's gone through the acquired brain injury and lives with it every day, being at the centre of what we do. And something that I've experienced today, as I did last year was my first Head Injury Information Day, is the togetherness of the community. My son's got an acquired brain injury. He acquired it as he was being born. And it does my heart good to see all the stalls next door. And is there someone still here from Independence? I may try to grab him later. My son's a bit of a freestyler. He was caught teaching everyone else in supported accommodation how to break dance. Massive boil wash afterwards. Everybody was manky. But that togetherness, especially today, and the funding, the unsure, the insecurity that we all face in the current landscape, I've probably got more out of today than I would have done in 6 months sitting in my office. And it's hard to find that time. I know you all find it as well. Difficult to find that time. And I'm as guilty of that as anyone else, but it's worth it in terms of the networking and the contacts. So there we are. I'm sorry I'm not Angela. It's obviously a huge disappointment to everyone, not just my parents. It's a long story there. There's a reason I'm wearing a kilt. With an underskirt, of course. The static's awful. But the most important person up here. So did you just shout, "Get him paid, get him off," Nell? She did, bless her. John, would you like to sum up in a couple of sentences what Headway Glasgow, or what that support you get, means to you?
Headway means everything to me because I've made such beautiful lifelong friends who I treasure each and every single day I come here. So Headway for me is a new way of life, because now I'm a new me, and I'm lucky to survive what I've been through, and I've been given a second chance at life, so I make the most of it each and every single day.
Thank you, John. Thank you for your time.
We have time for one or two questions, if anyone has a question. Oh my God, you're so well behaved.
Hi, Bob. I've been going to Glasgow this year. I suffer from a brain injury, but I'd like to say thank you to Bob because it helped my mental health, and my brain injury was by of abuse, and I was thrown out the 5th floor hotel window. So I'd just like to say thank you to Bob for all the support he's given me and my family, because I shouldn't survive. I shouldn't be here today, but it's a blessing. So I'd just like to say thank you to Bob.
That's great. So if you could put your hands together for Bob and John.